All right, we're back with another video here. Um, Picking up where we left off from our last video, where we discovered how uh, the protected access specifier works a little bit. How the derived class can have access to the protected sector of a base class using functions. I'm sure there's a number of other ways that that can work and stuff. Um, A lot of this has to do with just basically experimenting, trying things out, writing the code, see what you can do, see what you can't do, get very creative, use your imagination, sort of thing. For me right now, it's more about just trying to learn as much as I can about C++. That way I have as many tools as possible at my disposal for when I start writing code and trying to create something with my imagination. This way I'm not getting stuck so much and sitting in one place trying to figure out how to do it. So let's get started with this. We left off with C++ polymorphism. Again, W3 Schools is on the right side, VS Code is on the left side. W3 Schools is my source for discovering a lot of things about C++, but they don't have just C++. They have a lot of different categories up here. You're welcome to research, look into, maybe figure something out as far as if you want to create something of your own. By the way, you can support the website if you want to by upgrading or going through the academy. They have a lot to offer here. Um, a lot to offer, maybe not everything you're looking for, but uh, I'm sure with additional support they can uh, upgrade their website and continue offering more and more as it goes along. But on the left side, we had VS Code, which is a text editor. It's what I use to write my code. If you're unfamiliar with either one of these and stuff, feel free to use the comments to ask questions about them. I can do my best to answer them. I don't have all the answers, but I can either try to answer them or point you in a direction that might give you some help. All right, let's get started with this. So, C++ polymorphism. What is polymorphism, period? I really don't know. Let's look into this and see if I used to know it one time and forgot it and just need to learn it again. Polymorphism means many forms and occurs when we have many classes that are related to each other by inheritance. Like we specified in the previous chapter, inheritance lets us inherit attributes and methods from other classes. So derived classes inheriting things from the parent classes, but with maybe additional code to use. So the derived classes have code that they want to keep private or protected or public, but yet have access to another class uh, to where they can use some of that code to bring down into their code and to share with what goes on in the main. So polymorphism uses those methods to perform different tasks. This allows us to perform a single action in different ways. For example, imagine a base class animal with a method called make sound. Derived classes of animals could be pigs, cats, dogs, birds, etc. Every animal can make a sound, but each one sounds different. And it gives some examples of different animals and the different sounds that they might make using texts. Obviously, using words to try to mimic those sounds as the best we can. But this is polymorphism, using different classes and making different, printing out something different for each class. The same action making sound behaviors differently for each animal. Okay, so we got an example right here. So let's get this example put in here and see what's going on with this example. First off, let's go ahead and clear out everything we have here except for the base class, because I don't even know if we're going to use a derived class or not. Go ahead and clear out everything we have in the base class, as well as everything we have in the main function here. Now our code looks a little bit cleaner here. So we got, first off, we got a base class, which we're going to change the name of the class from employee to animal. I'm going to set this to public. And we're going to have a void function, animal sound. Yep, so there's no space in between there. Animal sound with no parameter set. Curly brackets with some code, standard output, and then some content. The animal makes a sound with a space and then a new line afterwards in that code right there. And that'll be in the end of our base class right here. And we're going to create a derived class. So we will have that derived class, but that's fine. Typing this out multiple times does not hurt me whatsoever. This class is going to be called pig. P-I-G. And it's going to be a derived class of public animal. So it's going to be a derived class or a child class of animal class. Yep. Oops. And we're going to set this to public as well. Have a void function in it. Animal sound. Curly bracket for some code. Standard output. And content. The pig says new line. And in that line right there, come down 2 spots in that class right there, and then we're going on to another derived class. So a little comment here, derived class. So in this right here, we are kind of seeing how our previous examples and so far what we've learned might take play in future programming. Now we're going to create another derived class right here. Going to call it dog. And it is going to be a derived class of public animal. Now, if you remember and stuff, this derived class can actually, one, have inherit the base class, or it can inherit the previous derived class, which would make this a grandchild class. So we got the base class or parent class, a child class, and it can access the derived class, which would make it a grandchild. In this case, and stuff, it's just going to be another child class or derived class accessing the base class. So we got some more. In this one right here, we have this set to public as well with another void function, animal sound, no parameters, but output with some content. The dog all right, and then be sure to end that class with that semicolon down there at the end. Now, in this example, they don't have anything for the main. In fact, they're not calling it out, so therefore nothing's going to print out for us because the main is where everything happens. So we'd have to have something in the main. And right now, we don't have anything in the main. They're not even showing a main right now. So nothing will happen with this. Best bet is just to save it for now because it may be used here in a little bit in the next example. I'm not sure. Okay, so there's a yellow spot right here. It has some content. Remember from the inherit chapters that we use the colon symbol to inherit from a class. Yeah. Okay, remember from the inheritance chapter that we use the colon symbol to inherit from a previous. Yes, so we're using that colon symbol right here, so this becomes derived class to inherit from the base class on both these derived classes, the animal class. Now we can create pig and dog objects and override the animal sound method. So we got another example here. How much of this do we keep? So we got base class here, animal public function. Correct, correct, correct. We're going to keep this derived class right here. Everything's set the same way with the functions and the output. And we got another derived class here, dog, with inheritance animal. Set to public for the function. Yep, yep. So it looks like in this example we are going directly into the main and calling out all these uh, classes here. So animal first, and then create an object for animal called myAnimal, and just declaring it there. So we got an object myAnimal. Uh, Pig, we're going to call that one out too and create an object for it. Dog as well. So we have three different classes right here. We've created three different objects for three different, or one object for each class we have currently. So myAnimal first dot animal sound. So we're accessing the void function from the animal class. No argument since there is no parameters set for it. Same thing with my pig. Dot the animal sound, the void function from it. And then the same thing with the object from dog. Dot animal sound. No argument in that one either. And saving all that. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. We got a public void function that's outputting some text from the base class. We got a derived class right here, which is a child of the animal class with a public void function. It's printing out some text as well. We got another derived class right here, dog, which is a child class of animal with a private sector with a void void function in the private sector. We are creating three different objects, one object for each class, and then we are going to call out each function right there so they all print out. Now, something I wanted to come back through here. So, uh, polymorphism, which is what this is about, means many forms. It occurs when we have many classes, which we have three different classes that are related to each other, and they are the two derived classes have the same, or are both child classes of a parent class or base class here. So they all three are related. Um, sorry about that. Like we specified in the previous chapter, inheritance lets us inherit abilities and methods from other classes. Polymorphism uses the method to perform different tasks. In this case, I don't see us performing different tasks. Let me read the rest of this. This allows us to perform a single action in different ways. Okay, so you can either use polymorphism to perform different tasks, maybe in the same class or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't think that they're using this method. It uses the method of performing different tasks. I don't think they're using that method at all. Not in this case. I think they're strictly going off of this allows us to perform a single action. We're not performing multiple actions or multiple tasks. We're performing a single task, single action that is giving us three different responses. Okay. Um, we created three different objects here from three different classes. We are doing three different tasks here. So I guess this might be considered polymorphism, but in my opinion and stuff, we are just simply calling out. I guess that's what polymorphism is then. Um, Performing three different actions right here, creating three different objects. So this would be a polymorphism right here. Three different tasks, creating three different objects. This would be another polymorphism right here because we are calling the functions of all three classes. Um, And then this in itself would be another polymorphism because even though we are calling out three different ones, each one of them is performing a different action. So that seems to me like polymorphism is a very general based term. Because I mean, in another sense and stuff, we have a function right here and a class. So that's a polymorphism. That's two different tasks being done. The main and then the compiler using three different classes. The fact that um, the animal class is really just performing one task, but both derived tasks or both derived classes are performing uh, one task as well, but they also have access, which gives them a second task or second ability. Yeah, so polymorphism seems to have a very broad or general based term to it. I mean, I'm moving both my hands. Is that what they're referring to as polymorphism? I think some better clarity on that word right there and stuff would be very helpful. Um, or some more examples than just this one right here would be very helpful. So we got the example written down. So now we will have actually output. I think we're only going to have three different outputs since we're only calling three different functions with three different objects from three different classes. Three classes, three objects, calling out pretty much the same function, but each function, since it's in a different object or different class, has a different output. Now you already got it saved, so let's go and run it. We should get basically all the content. This one right here first, this one right here second, that one right there third. And yes, animal sounds, yes, yes, and yes. Why and when to use inheritance and polymorphism. It is useful for code reusability. We use attributes and methods for an existing class. Okay, so that's very general too, because we've already kind of done that before without polymorphism. Reusing multiple code. I mean, so I'm not yeah, I'm not very clear on polymorphism as of right now. That's probably why I didn't remember it before and stuff because of it being such a general based term. If I was to use an analogy with it, I would say that I live on planet Earth. Well, it tells you what planet I live on. It doesn't tell you where I live, and that's a huge area to cover. Um, I could also say I live in this universe. Don't know if we have a name for this universe, but that's a very huge general term. Um, is this polymorphism? I'm doing two tasks at once, moving both hands at one time. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure this is a very good understanding of it and stuff. Maybe I'll learn more about it later in my other source, but yeah. I would say at this point in time, we have really just discovered polymorphism. We don't fully understand it, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. If you have an opinion about that, or you have a correction, or you want to add something to it, comments are there, open. Go ahead and use them to do that. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them. Probably not too well on this one right here topic. Maybe another topic or whatnot. So, moving on. We don't want to get stuck in one place for too long. Virtual functions. We'll go ahead and end this video with that right there. We'll pick up our next video with virtual functions, starting with that right there. Maybe that'll be a little bit easier to understand once we discover it. In fact, most of everything that we've discovered, we have just discovered. We do not fully understand all of the discoveries we have made so far. Like I said, I have another source that literally has 20 plus chapters with multiple pages in each chapter, giving us better understanding of C++ and what we are currently discovering. We just haven't got there yet because that is not a beginner-friendly site. It gets more into the depths of it. If you start there, you might be able to figure it out, but I would more suggest starting here. You may not understand what you're discovering, but at least you're discovering it, and it's quick, it's fast. When you move on to the second source, it's going to get more detailed in some of the words it's going to use. You will understand better because you've discovered them. Whether you remember them or not, it's a different story. So that'll be it for this video. If you liked the video, click the like button. And when I come back for my next video, we'll get started on virtual functions and see what that's all about. Until then.